What's up? What's up? What's up? Move with it. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. What's up? What's up, beautiful people? How is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's been well since the last time we spoke. This is your boy, your host, TW Suggs, sending you all types of mad love and dope vibes. You are now listening to the one and the only Tommy Talk Show. Oh, and the crowd goes wild. What's up, beautiful people? Hopefully you all are well. Welcome to another episode of the Tommy Talk Show. We have an awesome show lined up for you all. It's going to be an amazing show. Today's topic is aliens living among us, a conversation with brilliant creatives. I'll say that topic again. It's aliens living among us, a conversation with brilliant creatives. And as a creative myself, I usually felt, especially growing up, I usually felt misunderstood. I always didn't fit in because, especially growing up in Philadelphia, all the boys, all you played was either basketball or football. I wasn't in either one of those sports. You know, I was always into drawing, into painting. I was into singing and those types of things and acting and whatnot. But there weren't many outlets there. So, it left me trying to figure out, okay, so where do I fit in this world? So we're going to have a conversation with some brilliant creatives who I see as aliens, people who are alien in their thinking, just some people who just seem otherworldly, especially as it pertains to creativity. So with us today, we're going to have DonChristian Jones, and we're also going to have Will Toms. You do not want to miss this conversation. But before we hop in, I want to do some birthday shout outs. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do some celebrity birthday shout outs. I'm always interested in seeing whose birthday is in which month. So we have, for the month of April, we have R.W. Shambach. So anybody who knows anything about R.W. Shambach, you know that he is one of the pillars in the Christian faith, and he was a well-known healer and a miracle worker. We also have Eddie Murphy, who has a birthday in April. We have somebody who I really, 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 really look up to, and that is Pharrell Williams. One day I hope to meet this guy and just shake his hand. His birthday is April 5th, and guess what? Pharrell is going to be, I think, 50 years old. This man is, I know, right? This man is so iconic, and he still looks like he's in his 20s. I don't know how he does it. The first thing that came to my mind was Coming to America, Juices and Betty's. But somebody else who we have who has a birthday in April is Martin Lawrence. But I am wearing, some of you can't see it, but right now I am wearing my orange sweatshirt that has a line on it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Lincoln University was, I believe, was founded in April. All right. So happy birthday, Lincoln University. That is my alma mater. I did graduate. I did do my undergraduate study from Lincoln University. All right. So happy birthday, Lincoln, and happy birthday to all those celebrities and A-listers, and stay tuned for the show. You do not want to miss it. Talk to you soon. Welcome back to the Tommy Talk Show. Hopefully everybody is doing very, very, very well, and that you're letting your light and your joy and your passion and your beauty shine as brightly as possible. Listen, today's conversation, if you're just joining us, is aliens living among us, a conversation with brilliant creatives. Again, I'll say that one more time. Aliens living among us, a conversation with brilliant creatives. And we're having this conversation because usually creative people, creative spirits are very hard to understand, and sometimes it's hard for them to find their place, their rhythm, and their path in the world. And today, I have two amazing folks with me. The first person that I have with me today is the one and only creator, rap artist, singer, founder of the nonprofit Public Assistance, and he's also doing some stuff with the Politics of Mourning, DonChristian Jones. What's up, Don? How you doing, man?
What's up, Tommy? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. How you feeling today, bro?
Doing okay, still hanging in here. So
Okay.
that's a good start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. It's A little cloudy here. We're in Pennsylvania right now. How's the weather out there where you are?
I am in Jersey right now, and it's the same. It's very gray out,
Got you.
rainy.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you find that the weather plays, and this wasn't even on the on my list right here, but I just want to cross the street real quick. Do you find that the weather outside plays into how creative you are, or you just kind of like creative, hey, it's sunny outside, I feel more of this, or it's rainy outside and I feel less of that. Like, how does that work with your creative process?
That's a great question. I think, assuredly, weather plays a huge role in, I think, my creative mode, and I think I'm more efficient and probably prolific in the warmth and in the sun.
Got you. Got you.
There's
Got
something,
you.
something about a rainy, cloudy day that makes you just want to curl up late and keep it real
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. One of my a friend of mine, he says he's always like, I hate it when you know how in the wintertime when it gets darker sooner. He
Hmm.
talks about how that even plays with his mental health because it's so dark
For
so soon. So when he's inside the office building for so long, when he finally gets out, when he comes in it's dark, when he leaves it's dark. So they're kind of, so I just wanted to know if there was any correlation for you as well as a creative, because it the same thing applies to me as well in reference to creativity.
Definitely. And like, yeah, I think seasonal depression, as it's been named clinically, is very
Hmm.
real and it can affect matters of spirit,
Yeah.
immensely. But there are waves in which, I can be really juiced in the winter too. It's just like a different mode, maybe working through a different medium or something. But I think
Yeah.
it's easier to like be inside and working on music or producing, making beats on days like this.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Um, so you have a very unique perspective on the world, perspective on life, um, and you manifest that creatively in such unique ways and such and so many unique platforms that a lot of people are not thinking that and doing that. Has that always been Don Christian, or is that something that you have, evolved into over the years? Because
Mm.
it's such a bold, you have such a bold stance and such a energizing and bold stance when it comes to creativity. Has that always been Don Christian?
Well, thanks for saying all that, first of all. But I think, and another great question. I think it's again like a mode that I've grown into. I
Hmm.
like this idea of modes and modality, but like something that has um, I've grown into as a means of kind of reconciling and rationalizing all of my interests
Hmm.
and all of the mediums and materials that I want to work through. And I think in the beginning, especially when I was still in school, prior to even saying I want to be an artist out loud, trying to make sense of all these different interests was really daunting.
Hmm.
And I think the world we live in, the society, often will tell us, this is, you got to find one thing and be great at it or stick
Yeah.
on that and like practice that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's a little antithetical to a lot of our personhoods. I think so many of us have like ADHD with regard to living style, and like
Yeah.
I go in and out. So um, being able to embrace all of these things that I love
Hmm.
once and for all and find ways to do them all at once has been actually really wonderful for me.
Wow. Wow. It also sounds like, if I may use this word, it also sounds like a bit freeing as well, especially because when while you were excuse me while you used the gesture of like kind of like this box right here, in reference to how society can make us feel as creatives, um but it sounds like you're like out of your box now, and that
Mm,
you're freer to do what's authentic for you. So I think that's
mm,
that's awesome, man. You mentioned something about your journey, And you said you had a number of interests, um, and how it was a bit daunting to navigate or even find the intersection between all
Mm,
of them. What was, talk to me about that daunting part of your journey, because like the topic is aliens living among us, so that to me it sounds like you felt like a bit of an alien, maybe like trying to figure that out, because a lot of people may not have that same struggle. Most people who are
mhm,
not, I think everybody's creative to some extent, but I think creativity also is also a spectrum.
mhm,
And people who may not be where you are in that spectrum, they may not have had to do that type of soul searching or have that daunting part of their journey. So what was that daunting part of your journey like, and how
mhm.
did you navigate through it?
So, layers to that question. I think, so many of us are lucky enough to stumble upon or find or excavate like what brings us immense joy. And
Hmm.
sometimes at young age or sometimes in the middle of our lives. And I think I was so fortunate enough to realize like I loved drawing and I loved painting early on. And I loved dancing and I loved singing and I loved music early on.
Hmm.
Um, and then it became this matter again of reconciling, how do I do all these things at once, because the world will tell you, well, if you really want to sing, then you need to study singing. If you really want to paint, then you need to go to art school.
Yeah.
And then you also got people that really don't believe in the arts or expressive work as like a career.
Yeah.
So I think just that challenge alone of like believing in myself or having people around me that encouraged me and said, you can do that, you can make art a career.
Mm.
um, uh, and so I'd say in the last decade or so, it's been a matter of like figuring out the connectivity and these points of relativity between painting and between performance and music, and how all these things can coalesce into a more holistic vision. And it's been, like you said, freeing, totally freeing to
Yeah.
kind of try to escape the confines of those boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost sounds also not just freeing, but it almost sounds a bit defiant too. One of my favorite words lately has been disruptive, or being a disruptor. And I feel
Mhm.
that even in this world, I feel that some things can be so status quo and so boxed in, that every once in a while you need a world changer, a thought leader, a trailblazer, a creative to come along and say, I'm gonna go ahead and shake this up. Even if we think about Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" speech, it's not a speech; it's a work of art.
Yes.
It is a literary work of art that changed the world, that still ripples in time and eternity even now. So
Mm.
yeah, I feel you. Yeah, you got some rebel in you, man. That's awesome.
The disrupting, undoing,
Wow.
um,
Talk to me more
even,
about
and
undoing.
so it's kind of a motto or something I've been trying to live by, and I think abounds in my work, especially in the work of public assistance, which is this collective that I helped found, and
Hmm.
is undoing respectability politics. Undoing these kind of societal boxes, if you will,
Hmm.
um, uh, these frameworks that have been imposed on us by our colonizers, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
um, that really are rooted in my mind, in misogynoir, anti-blackness,
Hmm.
white supremacy,
Hmm.
and patriarchy. So I am entirely inspired by other disruptors, by people that antagonize these systems of
Wow.
disenfranchisement,
Yeah.
and question, obviously. And I strive to live and work through a critical pedagogy. So not approach things or subjects or organize as if I already know the answers, but
Wow.
rather like enter space with people, with community, and ask
Yeah.
questions. You
Wow.
ask questions together, and you come to some collective answers together. Um, feels like a more beautiful, fruitful, nourishing, careful approach to learning and creating.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I don't even know what you asked me.
No, it's fine. No, that was excellent. We were talking about the you used the word undoing, and we were talking
I
about yeah. That's excellent. That's excellent. And I agree that there are a lot of systems that have been put in place that need to be undone. And I love the approach that you have, where you say that one of the ways that you undo some of these systems is by um, not approaching it as if you already have an answer. Excuse me, but you're going in, um, holding it softly,
mm,
with a group, and willing to do the exploration process. It's
mm,
almost like a scientist goes in with a hypothesis that could be proven wrong, could be proven right. But we're going to be present for the experiment to see what happens and to see what the outcome will be. So that's a beautiful
mm.
thing, and the fact that you have community to do that, which takes me over into public assistance, right? Because it sounds like so tell us a little bit about public assistance. We know that it's a nonprofit that you co-found that leverages creativity and brings together creative people to address a lot of the things that's going on in this world. But tell us
Mm.
more about public assistance and all the goodness that y'all doing right now.
Sure. Well, I mean, we founded formally in 2020, really at the height of all the protests and the height of COVID. And we really began as a mutual aid network, just gathering in urgent times to create protest media, banner signs, sets for protest in all those actions in New York.
Hmm.
And then also just feed each other, uh, we started erecting raised beds and growing produce, and we had a community fridge. And from there we just really uh, grew so quick into a community design lab
Wow.
that really is founded in uh, collaborative art making. So we're trying
Okay.
to address like our hyper local community issues or challenges through collaborative art making and design and media, commercial media, almost like as a counter form of propaganda at this point.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, with mutual aid at its core, so like never um, working to provide services and social service and projects and program to community for free while also having style and making art and income and paying each other and producing the work we want to make, really, but like
Wow.
creating the table we want to sit at rather than waiting to be invited.
Wow. 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 Thank you, first of all, for sharing that. Second of all, thank you and your team for being brave enough to do something like that. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that there's enough do you feel that there are enough platforms for creative communities to come
Mm,
together? Um, I know that you have some here and there, but do you feel that there are enough platforms, and that the platforms that exist, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing to hold this unique breed of people?
mm. It's a great question, and I think there'll never be enough.
Yeah,
I think this is kind of like a an area in which like oversaturation doesn't exist.
yeah,
Same with like four season farming and like urban permaculture. Like there's just like there's some things that we can't get enough of.
yeah,
And I think so but I also, to that point, I think there are ways in which we can strengthen the networks,
yeah,
provide greater transparency between these like collective grassroots orgs, um, so that we all are kind of on the same page. The
yeah.
farms upstate and elsewhere, how we can get fresh produce to food deserts in inner cities and do food distribution and bike repair and social service, while also like seeking joy together, but just
Yeah.
being prepared, uh, um, communicative amongst one another about what we all have going on, promoting one another's projects and work, and showing up for each other, so that these
Hmm.
networks are like really founded and connected.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It ties what you just said. Makes me think about what you just said a few moments ago about the importance of having that community to ask those questions to address the things
Mm,
that we see, because things that we're seeing going on in our society, because as we're addressing things going on in our society, us coming together as a creative community also helps address things that's going on within the community itself.
mm.
So yeah, that's awesome. Don, thank you so much for your time, brother. I really appreciate it. Do you have any projects that you're working on right now, or anything that you're coming up that you want to share with the people that we can support and show love for?
Thank you, Tommy. Well, right now we are really we are locked in renovating our new brick and mortar storefront in Bed-Stuy. It's at the
Awesome.
Yeah, so the new public assistance outpost, it'll be called Personality Cleaners. It's an old dry cleaners.
Hmm.
And in the front of house, we're going to have a radio room, from which we'll have a radio server, much like what you're doing, and be able to broadcast 24/7 for community.
Wow.
The back of house will have a full fabrication studio with textile machines, embroidery machines, 3D printers, digital lab, tech
Woo!
lab, and that will be up and running for the community, for a full running print shop. If you ever need to make zines,
Whoa.
posters, flyers, we'll be your hub.
Wow.
So
So let me ask you one more question. How can we support that work for somebody who's listening and they're like, oh my goodness, I want to connect. Not only do I want to
yes,
connect with Don and public assistance, but I also want to support monetarily. How can people support monetarily, and how can people connect with you in public assistance?
great question. We got an up and running GoFundMe for our renovation campaign
Mhm.
right now. But more than anything, just the support of following us and signing up for our newsletter. If you follow us on Instagram, that's the best way, because it's really like the narrative and the images are just really exhilarating. So
Yeah.
that's public assistance on Instagram, and assistance is spelled like personal assistance. It's a double entendre, like a play on government aid. And then you can go to our website and sign up for our newsletter at publicassistance.org. And you can follow my personal Instagram, DonChristian Jones.
Awesome. Don, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Everybody stay tuned. We will be right back.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Yes, sir. What's up, beautiful people? If you were in the room with us or just dialing in, you would have heard an awesome conversation that I just had with DonChristian Jones about aliens living among us. And if you're just now tuning in, we are having a conversation about aliens living among us, a conversation with brilliant creatives. And so what I have done is I'm bringing on two creatives, because these are two amazing gentlemen who I feel are aliens, and who I feel that they can best speak to that experience and what that is like. And right before me, I have the co-founder and visionary of Rec Philly, author of Uncommon Sense, Your Strategy Guide to Creative Freedom, thought leader, trailblazer, and mentor, Will Toms. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Tommy, man? I'm feeling good, bro. It's a blessing to be here with you. How you?
Hey man, I'm doing amazing, bro. It is so awesome to have you on the show. I know I was a bit of a stalker, but I had to have you on the show, man. I had to have you on the
Come on.
show.
Come on, man. That's what's up. I appreciate you thinking of me.
Yes, sir. And right before we hop in, Will, me, and Pelza, my producer, we had this awesome conversation around Poke Bowls. So I don't know if anybody out there has had a Poke Bowl just yet, but make sure y'all get it. And I know, and Pelza was like, well, what is a Poke Bowl? Sorry to put you out there, Pelza. But For some people who know what it is, you know what it is. But for some of you who don't, you don't. So, Will, what did you have in your poke bowl today, man?
Listen, man, I didn't come on here to think I would be positioned as the poke expert. But I be eating good. I be eating good, man. I had that fresh salmon, that fresh tuna, you know what I'm saying, over rice
Oh,
with the arugula, the mixed greens, the
yes,
cabbage,
sir.
man. All the right things in the poke bowl, bro.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So y'all, if y'all have never had a poke bowl, you can thank Will and I later. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right, get your life right. Eat
Get your
good. Eat
life
clean.
right. Get your
You
life
know.
right. So listen, we're gonna hop right on into this conversation, and so I want to ask you a question. I wasn't able to ask Don this question, but I want to ask. I think I did, but I want to ask you this question as well. Well, have you ever felt like an alien because you are creative? And many people, and I feel, and I feel that entrepreneurs are like the epitome of creative people. And I also feel
Mhm.
that they are in many cases seen as aliens because they have concepts and ideas that many people can't see, because creatives, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, they're so forward thinking that most people aren't on that page just yet. So have you
Yeah.
ever felt like an alien as a creative or as an entrepreneur, and people were just like, I don't know what he's talking about?
Bruh, man, my life experience is one of feeling like an alien just as a human, right?
Wow.
Like, I've always been that, I'm from where I'm from, right? I'm from Philly,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Germantown. So
Yep.
like I've always had that experience of being from Philly, and then at one point, I moved to the burbs to do high school. So like I've
Yeah.
always known what it feels like to be too hood for the artsy kids, be too artsy for the
Wow.
hood kids. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm with my folks, but I speak in a certain way, so they
Wow.
look at me sideways at first. They be like, hold on, right? Like, so yeah, man, I know what that feels like to be other, and I think
Wow.
the beauty in that is it helped me really early appreciate my differences, right?
Wow.
And as a visionary, right, of my business and even just in the way I live my life, um, it's important for me to be able to stand in that difference, because the way I see the world, the things that I see to be possible, typically I'm the only one or one of few people who even see it, right? So
Wow.
when you think about entrepreneurship, right, we're really
Yeah.
just glorified problem solvers. So I
Wow.
think that I've been given the gift of perspective, right,
Yeah.
to say, okay, this is the reality of the norm of society,
Hmm.
but what could it be, right?
Wow.
And then all I've really done with my business of rec, right, is
Hmm.
imagine what could be possible, and then design that reality in real time for
Yeah.
others to step in and be like, oh, the old way
Wow.
the entertainment industry was kind of BS. For real, for real.
Yeah.
We could do it
Yeah.
this way, right?
Yeah.
So that idea of feeling like an alien or feeling like other or feeling different, has really informed who I am in my life's work. And I've learned to really be, my superpower in a way. And it's also allowed me to build empathy for folks in a way that allows me to really serve um,
Wow.
in a really authentic and thoughtful way. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Bro, you said that you embraced among the other things that you dropped, that you embraced your difference. You embraced those things that
Hmm.
made you an alien. And it's so funny because I have a similar story. I'm from West Oak Lane, right?
Okay.
And and for those of you who don't know, that is a spot in Philadelphia. Okay, so one of the things that was unique for me was that when I was growing up, like in Philly, I grew up like in the 80s, 90s, right? But during that time, all there was for young black boys was basketball and football. There was no other real creative outlet. So I didn't fit in with the basketball and the football players because that just was never an interest, but there was really no other creative outlet. So there were times when I said, like, all right, now how I'm going to figure this thing out. You know what I mean? And like kind of what you were saying, like just embracing that difference, that makes you the alien that you are. Let me ask you a question. because when you said made you the servant, first of all, the fact that you use that word, bro, we don't hear that word enough, especially in entertainment, especially as creatives, because it's always like somebody trying to get above the other person. But when you bring yourself down low, that's when you really make an impact in the community. And I feel
That's
one of
right.
the ways you do that is with the mentor, as a mentor, and as the thought leader that you are when you're on these various channels and platforms. What is some of the advice that you give to young creators, or young creatives who's really having a hard time navigating their identity,
Mm,
navigating where they want to go? They have an idea of, okay, well, I can do this, but I don't necessarily know where to go with it. And then let's compact that with parents who aren't necessarily supportive, because they may
mm.
not know, um they may not have that creative, they may not be on that part of the creative spectrum with their child. So how do you navigate these young creatives, these young aspirational geniuses through that part in that phase of their life?
Yeah, wow. So there's a lot to that question, Tommy. You know,
Yeah.
you put a lot in there. Look, man. I think it's this. When I talk to young creatives, I think there's a few things that are really important to discuss, right? I
Mm,
think the first one is, and this might sound really like duh, but it's like the first thing is you got to know that you can,
wow.
right? And that's like at the core of it all. Like I think a lot of us struggle with. Um, whether it's imposter syndrome or self-doubt, or
Yeah.
it's like this really, um it's a limiting belief of, yo, do you actually think that all the visions you have that God gave you, do you believe that they're possible and you
Wow.
specifically are capable of achieving them,
Wow.
right? And I think if we don't actually really take the time to like ask ourselves those questions and do that work, whether it's, in therapy, right, which is something I'm a big proponent of, or
Yeah.
like, in safe spaces with the homies, right? Like you got to really unpack all of our lived experience to a point where you can know that
Yeah.
there's so much conditioning, right, that's put on us that's specifically designed for us, especially people who look like us, to
Yeah.
not believe in our value and what we're capable of,
Wow.
right? So that's the first thing. And then
Yeah.
the second thing is like, yo, I challenge young creators all the time, get incredibly clear on
Hmm.
what you actually want. Like
Wow.
I think the most powerful question anyone can ever ask themselves is like, what do I really want?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes we be moving around life and like put on this mask of life just happens to us, right? But it's
Yeah.
like, come on, man, like we're creators made in the creator's image. So like every single thing we see around us in this world was created by someone no smarter than we are,
Yeah.
right? So like if we know that, then it's like, yo, you can have whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you got to know what it looks like, right? Because once
Wow.
you have a really intention, then you can actually design a path to
Wow.
actually obtain it, right? But I think a lot of people, they hide in obscurity, right? Meaning, yo, if I'm vague enough about my goals, then I never actually have to sit with the fact that I either accomplished them or I fell
Woo!
short, right? So for example, a lot of what that looks like in the beginning for a young creative, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I want to make a lot of money," right? And then
Yeah.
I'd be like, Tommy, I'll say, "Oh, well, how much money do you want to make?" And they'll be like, "Well, I never really thought about that, right?
Wow.
I just want to make enough money so I don't have to think about money, right?" But even the idea of actually setting a specific number puts so
Wow.
much more power there. But then the challenge on the flip side is then we hold ourselves accountable and say, okay, do my actions, my thoughts, my behaviors, my network, all these things align to actually set me up to get to that goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it's first knowing that you can, and then after that, it's like, yo, be courageous enough to be clear and specific,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Because then when you put that out there, I believe the universe conspires to help you obtain whatever the real desire of your heart is.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
that, and then the third piece, just to bring in the side, because you mentioned parenting, right, and almost like
Hmm.
the role of maybe not having a supportive, parental unit and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Um, One of the best things I've ever done for myself, bro, is really being specific and intentional about my environment. And
Hmm.
when I say that, like I didn't choose the neighborhood I grew up in or the block I'm from and this and that, but like what we do get to choose though is who we decide to spend our time with.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? That's your environment. We
Yes,
do
sir.
get to decide, right? We do
Yes,
get to
sir.
control what kind of media we consume, right? What's that
Yeah.
media diet looking like? And I think
Yeah.
that when you really understand the power of environment, you realize that like no matter how big your goal is, you could think about the goal and
Hmm.
then you can actually work backwards and say, well, am I designing my environment such
Wow.
that it'll make this goal possible, right? For
Wow.
example, yo, you could say you want to get in shape, right? You could say you want to eat right, but if you got all the snacks in the crib, eventually the willpower is gonna get low, right? And you're gonna be like, I'm hungry, only got junk, so I'm eating junk. But
Yeah.
if you're serious, yo, design your environment. All I got is healthy food. All I got is the poke in the crib, right?
Yeah.
Like this and
Yeah.
that. And it just it makes it such a clearer path to what you want. So even if you don't
Wow.
have that support, quote unquote, from your parents and things like that, yo, get the right voices around you, right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
be intentional about spending time there because there's the family we were given, but there's also the family we choose, right?
Wow.
So I would say, design your environment to make sure you have, the right voices around you.
Wow. Will. Woo! Yo, he broke it out. He broke it down to like three steps, and I was paying. I was right. And it wasn't that I wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't looking at you, bro. I was over here taking notes so I could tell the people. Look. Hashtag
Listen, man.
nuggets. Listen, y'all for those of you who I'm going to do this recap because y'all needed to hear what Will just said because what he said, if you were listening, could change your life. Could change your life. He said, number one, know that you can. Know
Yeah,
that you can. So for whoever is listening, whatever dream that is that you're sitting with, whatever that thing is that you've been postponing, or whatever that thing is you've been, intentionally,
hmm
subconsciously delaying, know that you can. God is
right.
not giving you a
And
spirit of fear.
you feel me? And Tommy, let me just say this, right? Just to make it plain, like I'm only speaking this from experience, right? Like
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not this guy who's just like hypothetically you can't. No,
Yeah.
like I'm the kid from the hood, bro. Like I'm a kid, my pop doing a 30 to 60 right now, bro. Like
Wow.
I'm the son of an addict, bro. So like
Wow.
for me to come from where I come from, bro, and to have built a multi-million dollar business, bro, like
Wow.
I'm the kid who grew up watching my mentors was on TV. My mentors was Puff and Russell Simmons. Now Puff is my business partner, right? So I'm just
Wow.
speaking from experience of like, yo, you could start from anywhere and decide where you want to be.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the realest,
Wow.
So I
Wow.
just had to add that.
No,
Go ahead.
thank
My
you.
fault.
Thank you. Nah, you're good. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear the addition? Yo, listen, the thing that I took with me, that I'm really taking with me, even and honestly, Will, it's making me look at my own life, is the part that we're being intentional about your environment, but you are the builder of your environment. You are the developer of your environment. What type of
hmm
food do you have around you? Who are the people that's around you? And I want to say this too. Wherever God is getting ready to take many of us, we have to be careful about the people who, I feel like this is confirmation for somebody. You have to be careful about the people who are around you because there are no neutral people. Either they're feeding your dream or they're not. There are no neutral people around you.
Straight up.
Be careful about the people who are around you. And just like Will said, you can build your own environment, even if it takes a little bit of time for the people to come. Just reserve the space. Don't just put somebody in there because there's a vacancy. Reserve the space into the right people, the right mentor, the right spouse, the right wife, the right partner, the right business partner, the right whatever. Reserve that space until that person comes. Enough of just putting people in space just to be putting people in space. You know what I mean? And I really feel led to say this
Yeah.
too. Um, we don't have as much time as we think we have, y'all. We don't have as much time as we think we have. This whole thing is about to wind down real soon. We don't have as much time as we think we have, and so the things that we think that we have grace for, the things that we think we can continue to do, or whatever, we got to start putting our hands around that stuff and really start moving forward. Whatever God has put in your spirit, whatever is in your heart, whatever is in your mind to do, He put it there for a reason. But do you believe that you can, like Will Tom said, and then can you start crafting your environment? Well, I'm sorry, man. You just had,
Come on,
bro,
man.
man, oh man. Listen,
Listen, bro.
I was live on Instagram not too long ago, and I asked the people, I said, what's a question that I should be asking these creatives that I have on the show? And one of the questions, and it was so funny that this question came up, but because it was a question that was in my notes that I wanted to run by you and Don. I didn't have a chance to run it by Don, so I'm gonna run it by you. For someone who is parenting a creative,
Mm,
how do you navigate that process with them? Because I've never had to parent a creative,
hmm
but it seems like there are parts when you're parenting a creative where there's parts where you have to hold the hand, and there's parts where you kind of have to let them go to explore and find for
hmm
themselves.
hmm
So can you talk to us about that, please?
Yeah, sure. And I gotta put the disclaimer out there, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I am not yet a parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Same
so
here.
I can't, right? So I can't say that like I got the expert parent advice.
Yeah.
But I have been blessed to really be a mentor, as you mentioned early, to many creatives, right?
Yes, sir.
And also I can just speak from the experience of as a creative, I've been parented, right? And I know what
Wow.
was and I know what was done well for me, right?
Yeah.
So my grandmother who raised me, I think she did an incredible job at one, like we talked about before, instilling that self-belief, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
think that's vitally important, right? You
Mm-hmm.
gotta you gotta know who you are. You gotta know that everything is possible. And then you kind of spoke to this, but I just want to double down on it. It's like there is such an important thing in us as creators of being people who experience the world by exploring, right? So like
Mm.
you can't be that kind of helicopter parent who wants to make all the decisions on behalf of your kid and say, "Oh, I'm so fearful of the world that I feel like I gotta overprotect them." Like
Wow.
it's one
Wow.
it's one of those things where it's like all you really can do is instill the values, right? That
Yes,
that you
sir.
know are important, but you got to allow them to go bump their head if they going to bump their head,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because as creatives, again, it's like we not the kind of people that's like, yo, we just gonna follow the rules and like
Yeah.
I know it's wrong. It's like no, like sometimes you got to go out there and realize why the rules exist, right? So I think
Yeah.
it is this beautiful balance of like, yo, empower them and give them the value set, but create again the environment for them until they
Wow.
design it for themselves, create the environment for them to be able to nurture their creativity, to go explore the world, right, with a certain level of safety. But then just trust.
Wow.
You have to trust them. And I
Yeah.
think that there's something so powerful about expecting greatness out of a creative,
Wow.
right? I think creatives, specifically all humans, but specifically creatives, they tend to rise to the level of the expectation for them, right?
Wow.
And what I mean by that is in school sometimes, like if you got a teacher who don't really feel like you're going to amount to much, then you might not actually amount to nothing because you're like, yo, nobody expected me to get 100. Nobody expected me to be valedictorian. That's not in the cards for
Yeah.
me. But if the expectation is high, yo, you are capable of getting all A's. You are capable of this or that. There's something in us that calls the best out of us when we know that there's people who hold us high, right? So
Yes, sir.
hold your kids high, you know, trust them, right? And
Yeah.
allow them to trust themselves and also just make sure that again they know what they're
Yeah.
capable of and please let them make mistakes.
Wow.
Because right, because and I'll just say this, and I know I'm kind of getting long-winded here, but I
No, you're
think the
fine.
importance of okay, I think the importance of letting creatives be free to make mistakes is all of creativity for real comes down to psychological safety, right? If you're not feeling safe enough to be like freestyling, right?
Yeah.
I love rap, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you that bull who's scared to freestyle because you don't know if it's gonna come out perfect or not, then you're not gonna do it. It comes down
Wow.
to how safe do you feel, right? To go to that canvas. How safe do you feel to potentially not get it right? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people think like confidence is based on this idea of like knowing that you're going to get something right or do a good job, but it's not. Confidence really just comes down to like not being afraid to fail, you know? So
Wow.
it's like, how do you make sure you're nurturing your kids in a way where you know that failure is actually not bad? Like you better be failing because if you're not
Yeah.
failing, that means you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
You're not challenging yourself. So let people fail, you know, and create the environment for them to know that failure is literally a part of the process of success. It's not the opposite of
Wow.
it.
Bro, listen. Yo, you need to write another book, man. Um, you gotta write another book, brother. It's funny. I was talking to a mentor of mine. I haven't spoke to her in a couple years, but she said she challenged me. This was when I was in undergrad, and she challenged me, and she said, "Tommy," she said, "you have an obsession with perfection."
Mm.
And when
And
I
it'll
was
cripple you,
like,
Tommy.
"Oh my goodness!" So she said, it's okay to not get it perfect. It's okay to fail. It's
Hmm.
okay to make those mistakes. So
Yeah,
bro, wow, that is
bro.
amazing.
We literally have a value at Rec, and it's really helped us get where we are. We tell our team literally in hiring and at every town hall, one of the values of ours is, yo, make more mistakes, just
Wow.
never the same one, just never the same
Wow.
ones,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right? So
Yeah.
we really live by that because it's like, yo, what we're building is new. So the idea that we're gonna build something innovative and revolutionary and we're not ever gonna get nothing wrong is a farce, right? Even
Wow.
even Steph Curry misses shots, bro. So it's like,
Come on. Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah.
bro, so yeah, man, I just think that's so vitally important. And look, I'm gonna say this too. One of the things that I'm actually challenging myself to do because I
Hmm.
am someone who used to lean into that perfectionism.
Yeah.
I am, someone who used to care a lot about what people think about me and all
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
specifically, I started a new show. I just started it a few weeks ago. I call it Morning Coffee, and it's a live stream show. And
Oh,
one of the things I love about it, I do it every Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. ET. Um, I do it live because it doesn't give me a chance to try to polish it up and make it perfect. It's
wow.
we just show up and what you get is what you're going to get. And I needed that challenge for me because I'm the person who wanted to make the content so perfect. If it don't hit the way I want it to hit, I'm not going to put it out, right?
Yeah.
That's really just me holding back. Like if I trust myself and I trust God, bro, like whatever I give in that moment is what I had to give, and that's gonna be enough. And I
Yes,
just
sir.
think too often we don't allow ourselves that grace. So
Wow.
yeah, man, I'm living these lessons I'm sharing with you in real time, bro.
Hey man, that's beautiful. And the thing that I think that, to your point as well, that I think that a lot of creatives struggle with is grace. Really,
Yeah,
that concept of grace is being kind to
yeah,
ourselves and giving ourselves enough
mm-hmm,
grace for the fault, for the failure, and for the opportunity to learn. Wow,
mm-hmm.
grace. Wow,
Grace.
bro. Thank you so much, Will. Listen, what do you have coming up, and where can people connect
Yeah.
with you?
Well, listen, first, I just want to say, one, I've just really appreciated this conversation.
Yes, sir.
We didn't speak too much specifically about my work with Rec, so I want to challenge everyone to just lean in,
Mm-hmm.
at Rec Philly on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
recphilly, .com. We're really building what I believe is the future of creativity.
Yes,
So
sir.
anyone who's a creator, they've ever felt like, yo, I'm dope, but I don't got the resources, or I have talent, but I don't know how to monetize, or
Mm-hmm.
I just need opportunity. We've really built a world for creators. So if you're in the Philadelphia region, check out Rec. And if you're not, we coming to you soon. So, tune
Hey.
in with the journey. And then the second thing that I'm working on specifically right now, as I just mentioned, is that new show. I'm really excited about it. It's called Morning Coffee, and it's really a time that we get to just talk all things creative entrepreneurship. So if you've been blessed by some of the things I've been saying, the perspective I'm giving, and you're creative on the journey, tap in with us. You'll get to be amongst other creative entrepreneurs. We're all learning and growing together. And again, that's every Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And follow me on the gram. I always be doing cool fly stuff. So, and that's at the Will Toms, Will. Last name is Toms, Toms.
Bro, thank you so much. And I'm going to have to second that. Please follow this brother. Follow DonChristian too. And please follow Will Toms, y'all, if y'all haven't already, because the gems that they both be dropping, it's just kind of... I said it. Get the sound effect right. Get the sound effect.
And I'm still eating this poke bowl.
Hey!
Come on, man. We almost done.
Almost done, bro.
That's our word. He dropped them
gems, nuggets.
6-piece nuggets.
Oh, man.
Yo,
Will,
funny, yo.
Thank you so much, bro. We have to have you back on, man. And let's stay connected, bro.
Let's do it, bro, man. Anytime you need me, bro, I really have been blessed by this conversation, bro. So you give me the word. I'd be happy to come back on. And send me the video of this, bro. I gotta clip this up and share it with my folks too, because
I got you,
bro.
I got you. Yes, sir.
Much love to y'all.
Much love to you too, man. Everybody, that was Will Toms. Please stay tuned. Beautiful people, thank you so much for hanging in there with us on the Tommy Talk Show. That will be our show for today. You heard from DonChristian Jones. You heard from Will Toms. They left you their social media handles and their websites. Make sure you go visit, go support. They're doing amazing work. Also, while I'm at it, I need to give one of my homies a shout out, Stephen Taylor from the Ubuntu Fine Art Gallery located in Germantown. You can find them on 5423 Germantown Avenue. It's a great art gallery. Make sure you go check them out. Don't forget that this is recorded at the Combos Lounge with our one and only producer, Keith Pelzer, and it's also in collaboration with the Culture Talk Show. And we are on the P3 Christian Radio Show, and you can catch this show every Saturday at 2:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on iHeartRadio and or the P3 Christian Radio app. Thank you so much. Love you. Talk to you soon. Peace.